First up, we have House File 3220, which is being heard on informational basis. Welcome, Representative Green. I understand you have an A1 amendment for reference. Can you explain the A1 amendment and then proceed to your presentation?
Yes, thank you so much, Chair. The A1 amendment adds in American Indian Tribal Contract Schools into House File 3220 for consideration.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you so much. Good morning, members. Representative Jeff Whitty will be joining me shortly, but he is stuck in Texas right now, so hopefully he'll get over here shortly. So House File 3220 cancels the otherwise expiring balance, $1.8 million, in from the 2018 school safety grants, and it reappropriates the funds to a purpose consistent with the lawmakers' original intent. Fire emergency entry devices are on schools and in most committee member districts here. Knoxbox adoption is already well underway in Minnesota. We've got 66 school districts, including districts like Minneapolis, St. Paul, Rochester, Duluth, have already installed these secure key boxes, which is equal to about 180 school facilities statewide. Nearly 60 local fire departments are already using Knox boxes to ensure first responders can quickly access those schools during emergencies. So this widespread early adoption in Minnesota is aligned with what's nationally recommended for best practices for school safety, and it highlights Minnesota's proactive leadership in protecting students, something I think we all can agree on. So currently, Knox boxes are only accessible by fire departments. And how? Welcome, Representative Whitty. So currently they are only accessible by fire departments. But what H File 3220 would do, it would create a mechanism to use existing funds to support one Knox box for law enforcement on every school in Minnesota. And it's enough funding to outfit all schools in our entire state. I'll repeat that. It's enough funding to fund all schools to outfit with Knox boxes in our entire state for law enforcement. So, as we know, every second counts in an emergency. In any school crisis, seconds can truly matter. A Knoxbox law enforcement key lockbox gives police immediate access to the building's keys, allowing them to interlock schools within moments instead of wasting precious time, breaching doors, or waiting for someone to arrive with keys. This rapid access can dramatically speed up law enforcement response to stop the threat, essentially protecting students and staff. This is also supported by the national safety standards and experts, leading safety authorities urging schools to install law enforcement lockboxes. The other thing is the U.S. Department of Justice's report on Uvalde, one of the horrible tragedies at Robb Elementary, explicitly recommends that all schools have lockboxes on all enforcements. That came out of that report. Two other partners that support this is the Partner Alliance for Safer Schools, otherwise known as PASS, and the I Love You Guys Foundation, which is the national school safety organizations. The schools in my district use I Love You Guys as part of our safe school planning. But they both advocate for deploying these lockbox systems. It's a best practice. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it over to Representative Whitty now to give some expertise on what this actually looks like and how this works.
Welcome, Representative Whitty. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Representative Green, for giving me the opportunity to sign on to the bill as a co-author, but also to explain the importance of this. For 27 years, as you all know, I was a Burnsville police officer. One of the programs I started was called Blue in the School, and it was building, learning, understanding, and educating at all of our elementary schools. And the reason that was so important was it's in our patrol districts, and you built relationships with the staff. You got to visit with the kids from kindergarten through 6th grade, but you also were there as a resource. So if something bad should happen at that school or get information. And one of the key parts that we did in Burnsville was we put some lock boxes after building these relationships and being a resource and seeing what happened at Sandy Hook, seeing what happened at some of these school incidents. That time in seconds, minutes matter, and we put the lock boxes in the back of the school, and it gave us access so we could get into the building without having equipment and other things, and you have to build that relationship. So this bill will allow every school to have that opportunity. When there's a school incident, most people are expecting everyone to come through the front doors where one door is usually unlocked, but this will give law enforcement, the opportunity to get into the schools safely, quickly, and after Uvalde, we learned that it's important to get to the threat as soon as possible and not sit back and wait. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this bill. I think it is a great way to provide safety in our schools.
Thank you, Representative Woody. Welcome. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Peter Clough. I'm with the Knox Company. I live in Prior Lake, Minnesota.
Please proceed.
Yeah, Chair, we have him here for questions or for answers, so I would like to open it up for members. So, thank you.
Members, any questions? Representative Frederick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is this a separate box for law enforcement than it is for the fire department?
Representative Green.
Thank you so much, Chair and Representative Frederick, for that. I'm going to pass it to Representative Woody to answer that.
Representative Woody.
So they can be dual, but fire usually had their separate ones, just in case a key would go missing, and then it doesn't do us any good when you're inside trying to go. So this would probably, my understanding would be separate for law enforcement that they can put in the rear of the building or wherever they choose. It doesn't have to be the rear, it could be a side entrance, but something different than the front. And so I think that's, if that answers your question.
Chair, can I add something to that?
Go ahead, Representative
As
Green.
well? Thank you so much, Chair. So the other thing is, I think there's a liability issue too. And so when we have the fire department that has their boxes, and then we have the police department that would have their boxes. And, you know, it's very minimal maintenance at the school, but if a police officer were to access one of the buildings, like, they are responsible for those keys, which are obviously really important, and they're connected throughout the whole system within a district. And so there's kind of a liability piece there as well. So I don't know if you wanted to add anything else as well.
Please proceed.
Yeah, I think there's several reasons. Location on the building, size of the box, number of keys put in. But probably the biggest thing is generally police and fire don't share the same key in within jurisdictions for liability reasons.
Thank you. See, no other questions. Closing remarks, Representative Woody, Representative Green.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chair. So, you know, House File 3220 is a really smart use of these canceling dollars. I'm aware of the budget constraints that we have this year, but this really aligns with the original intent of our Safe Schools grant from 2018 and respects the work of our former colleagues. But more importantly, I really believe that this bill would add a critical layer of protection for nearly 1 million students in our state. That's 2,000 public schools, 200 charter schools, our tribal schools as well, our intermediate districts, plus countless state staff in our state as well. So God forbid we would need it, I would sleep better knowing that it was there. So thank you so much for consideration.
Representative Woody. Thank you, Representative Green, for the presentation.